I told I told Ari we need to. Oh, what the hell is going on?
I don't know. I see ya and hear ya.
Okay, cool. Somebody's
Yeah, I
trying
know.
to
There
call
was
me.
like a little, oh, okay. I saw a flash. It almost looked like I did a cut, but I
Yeah,
didn't because it's not
cut
it's not post production.
cut it out. Yeah, somebody wants to talk to me, but I don't want to talk to them
Yeah, I don't
because
like people.
it's fucking spam bastards.
See, those are the fun ones to talk to. I don't want to talk to
Yeah,
people I know. I want to talk to like a robot in fucking Bangladesh or whatever the fuck.
named Scott.
Scott. Yeah, I'm not gonna don't.
I
Don't.
You got dysentery.
I had a big poop du jour.
oh well, that's good.
Yeah.
How'd that come out?
It came out. It was it was something to behold.
You held it?
No, I said it was something to behold.
Yeah, to behold in your hand.
No, no, ew.
To behold. Okay, like behold. I got
Not
you. Okay.
something to be held.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm only on my second cup of coffee this morning.
Yeah, I'm working on my third.
Yeah, I was playing a video game, and in the course of playing the video game, I was nodding out as I do.
Yep.
I'm pretty much a narcoleptic. I can fall asleep standing up if I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I feel like other people are gonna think I'm a fucking junkie or something. Because
hmm
like I can't talk right and I can't remember shit and then I nod off all the time.
I
I got these needle marks in my arm. No, I'm just
what?
kidding.
No,
Just
I don't.
kidding.
You don't like needles. You don't like needles.
I don't mind needles. I just don't want to look at them whenever, like if I'm getting blood drawn or something, I just don't look, you
Yeah, I'm
know.
the same way. I'm
I
the same
probably
way. I don't.
could.
Yeah, I
I
don't like
probably
to.
could look.
No, I don't think I could. I think it would make me queasy.
Yeah. I just don't want to know it's coming.
Yeah, anything that I used to do is either orally or
Oh, I heard that about you.
yeah, yeah. Big big nose candy guy.
No, no, I heard everything that you like to do is orally.
Oh yeah, orally, yeah, orally.
Yeah.
Even yeah, 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 especially sometimes anally. If I gotta get a deposit.
Yeah.
Anywho, this is this
This
is
you
yeah,
do it.
me do it, you do it.
This is You Got Dysentery. It's our podcast.
hmm
Hello. I'm
Hi,
I'm Sam.
I'm John.
We are Xeniophiles.
Yeah, and we present this podcast here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zenio Files is kind of our umbrella name.
Yeah,
As a
eventually we'll have like six podcasts all under the it'll be the Xeniophiles network.
yeah, ooh, I like that.
Ooh. Like maybe we do a thing where we I don't know, we'll give it some sort of dirty name that isn't too dirty, but it'll be like us double team interviewing people.
You can call it double teaming.
We'll call it Eiffel Tower.
No, you can call it the Boston Boot.
The finger cuffs. We'll call it finger cuffs with Sam and John.
Okay, I like that.
I mean, because remember in the 90s, finger cuffs were kind of like a fun
hmm
toy to, like a
hmm
cheap toy you could play with.
They were brought to us by the Asians.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chinese finger cuffs.
Chinese finger cuffs.
We're getting back to to Mallrats with that now.
Yeah,
I forgot
yeah,
about the finger cuffs nickname.
yeah. And the eyelashes are for when they go down on me.
What are you talking about? Eyelashes?
You don't remember in Mallrat? You don't remember in Mallrats
Oh, with the like they
when
weren't
she had the
emojis,
smiley
but yeah,
faces and the
yeah,
what
yeah,
she said the eyelashes are for when the
yeah.
guy goes down on me.
Again, third cup of coffee. Yep,
Oh,
yep.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay,
Yep, yep, yep.
so
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
so you had brought to me that you want to discuss songs that remind you of the 90s.
Yeah, just song, you hear it, it will always forever just remind you of the 90s.
Okay, I have things like I purposely took out punk
Okay.
songs and punk bands because I feel like that's we're two 40-year-old punks who
Okay.
grew up, got into punk at the height of the revival. So I think that's pretty much a given,
Okay.
so we can
Yep.
like even though you just saw Green Day, I
Yeah.
feel like Green Day and the Offspring and Rancid are just kind of given. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at this point I kind of probably just because other people um have just drilled this into my head my whole life. At this point I consider Green Day and Offspring both alternative bands as
Okay, that's
opposed to
fair.
punk bands, but yeah, but we can still leave them out. Like,
You can do it. I just me
no,
personally.
I think that's a good point though. It's like kind of cheating almost
Mhm.
if we go with punk stuff. But I mean, that was my formative years though, like, as far as discovering punk and then going underground and finding more, well, not even like underground, but like stuff that wasn't played on the radio necessarily.
Yeah, I kind of lean just towards what I was buying either right before or even during the same time that I got into punk. Like because MTV was playing everything and there was so many different whether it was like Alternative Nation or Yo MTV Raps or you know what I mean. There were multiple, Headbangers Ball. There was multiple kind of those shows that kind of catered to. I mean, because you got to remember this was before BET and really before VH1 really launched. So, or VH1 was still maybe more of like the adult contemporary channel. I did VH1 didn't become what it was like it is now. And I don't even know how old like CMT would have been because MTV even played like kind of like country stuff too. So I feel like, you know what I mean? It's hard pressed
Hmm.
not to use kind of at MTV or even like just modern like national radio as a kind of a platform. I feel like me and you really didn't start really diving into like publications or like magazines until maybe right as 94 broke or like shortly after, whether it was Spin, Rolling Stone, Punk Parade, AP, whatever. Um, we had it. I don't think we probably were just getting into magazines around the same time, which those magazines were kind of they weren't all punk music. So you would get the
Right.
indie bands, you would get the national, like, the major label bands and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I hear you.
So so I felt like it would have gone kind of good to kind of like, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, there's punk songs that instantly make me think of the 90s. I just the three kind of subgenres that I kind of thought of because I'm kind of gonna do it as like kind of like a grouping of bands for each of my three. So do you want to start or do you want me to
Do you
start?
want to do you want to limit it to three? I didn't even plan anything with this. Can you hear me? There's someone cutting grass outside.
Oh, I don't even hear it.
Okay, good. All
Yeah, I
right.
don't even hear it.
So, yeah, because it's like I live on the third floor, so maybe the sound is muffled enough. But so I didn't really have a plan or anything like that. I was on the toilet doing the poop du jour, And then you were like, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, so I went to the Zennials Reddit and I
Okay.
was just like combing through people's posts and stuff. And what made me think of it was someone had just posted the video for What It's Like by Everlast. And I'm like, that song just reminds me of the 90s. I realize it was
There you
late
go.
90s.
Yeah.
It's a very late 90s song, but still, like every single time that I hear it, it just transports me back to high school, senior
Okay.
year.
Okay. That was the Whitey Ford album, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whitey Ford sings the blues.
Yeah. Whitey Ford sings the blues. Yeah. Because
I,
I think
I,
he did another Whitey Ford too.
I don't know what it was called, but I know before that, like years before that, he had like probably right after House of Pain broke up. I think he did like just a straight rap, hip hop album.
Yeah. It was just Everlast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't know if he did another Whitey Ford thing after that.
I feel like he did. I feel like he did multiple Whitey Fords,
Mm.
like kind of at the turn of the turn of the new century. Yeah.
Was it like a series, sort of like Johnny Cash's American recordings?
I don't know. I just think it was the kind of persona he took on. It was like the Whitey Ford.
It was like his Slim Shady.
Yeah, but like it was like a blues dude that was into like that came from the hip hop scene,
Right.
kind of a thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
which we can respect because we like transplants, and that was kind of like punks
Hmm.
infiltrating the hip hop. At least part of hip hop.
Yeah.
So, well, so you brought up what it's like. That's a
Hmm.
good song.
Yeah.
That's a good way to start this. I was
Well,
just thinking, like, with the whole kind of like revamping of this group, with the son taking over on vocals, a band that really reminds me of the '90s is Sublime,
hmm.
and more importantly, like that kind of era of um ska, reggae, raw kind of fusion stuff. I would lump 311 with that too.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, I have thoughts on that. Keep going.
I listen. I'm not gonna lie and not say I wasn't a 311 fan. Those first like four albums were really, really good. And I had a buddy of mine who was originally from Rhode Island who had been following 311 for like years and years and years, and had actually got to know them and conversated with them, and he would get albums early and stuff like that. Like he was like a super fan who happened to know the band personally.
Hmm.
And I just remember when the album sound system came out, like he had like an advanced copy of it. And I just remember listening to it and like I like their style. I like that, I don't know, California, like reggae, ska, funk, punk kind of fusion of stuff, hip hop. Like they really didn't give a shit. Like they didn't really play into that whole like purism shit. You know what I mean? That I think a lot of bands kind of fall into.
Yeah.
They were kind of like the punk version of like a jam band. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and you're touching on a lot of the stuff that I think like okay, I would say that Down, their song Down is definitely a song that like when it comes on it just makes me think of the 90s.
mm-hmm.
But
All mixed up.
all mixed up. I mean that first album really, but like I knew they had like a couple albums before that because they had been advertised in the back of like skate catalogs and like we talked about
Yeah.
this before how like skate catalogs would have like a music section on like the last page and it'd just
Mm-hmm.
be like random shit. I don't even know how they picked what they put back there, but I remember 311 being one of the 311 and Sublime were both featured amongst all this punk stuff. But like I remember hearing Down and I'm like, "Oh, this is 311. Okay." And I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was going to be a punk band or something. And then I'm like, "Oh, this is like Rage Against the Machine light."
Yeah, I
And
guess. Yeah.
but like I liked it. Like I didn't have a lot of like a lot of strong opinions back then about music. You know what I mean? But
They were more of like a positive, like kind of an uplifting kind of a band. I think their whole style was just like that kind of reggae belief, you know what I mean? That like unity and like, positivity
and aliens.
and aliens and cure covers and
Yeah. But like I never really made a connection between them and Sublime until like probably 10 years ago, like when people that are younger than us would kind of lump them together. And I'm like,
yeah.
why? And then I'm like, okay, I guess they do like reggae-ish stuff sometimes. And,
And it's
you know,
not horn ska. It's not like ska with horns in it. You know what I
right.
mean? I think it kind of like you can't really connect those bands with like Real Big Fish and No Doubt.
Right. But I don't think that they ever did straight reggae until after we had, heard of them and they were like popular. You know what I mean? Like they
No,
did
there's right
like
there was
some
reggae
reggae
stuff.
influences in it.
Yeah, there
Like
was.
a lot of the guitar lines, even when they were like palm muting and, doing like chuggy kind of riffs, they were doing that as like they were emulating reggae bass lines and stuff with that.
Hmm.
Um, Stuff like All Mixed Up has like some reggae guitar in it. You know what I mean? But like I think the thing is what really blew my mind is people were lumping them in with ska, and I'm like,
Yeah, no,
no,
they're like a
311 is
fusion.
not
They're a
ska.
fusion
They're
band.
like they're rap rock with reggae influence, or at least the era that I'm more familiar with. It was
Hmm.
rap rock with reggae influences.
Yeah, their earlier stuff like music and grassroots, there was reggae even before. And in fact, I would
Okay,
actually say they were more reggae
okay,
then. And I think the heavier stuff, like especially with self self-titled and sound system, I think was just because they were trying to modernize their sound because the heavier stuff was kind of getting in place. So more like the driven guitar stuff, like with
yeah.
like down, was more of like kind of like trying to adapt, I guess,
Mhm.
to what was becoming the norm.
What's funny is like the first time that I really so I saw them, like I said, I saw their name, like the first two albums or whatever, listed in like a CCS catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was walking around the mall, like you do in the 90s as a teenager.
Yeah, Mullen.
And there were like these two guys running around giving people flyers for a show. And I was like, oh, hey, and I bullshitted with them for a couple minutes. Well, like, what do you sound like, And they're like, oh, we're like rapcore. And I'm like, what's rapcore, And this was before Limp Bizkit and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, it's like we're really into Rage Against the Machine and the Beastie Boys and Insane Clown Posse and 311. And I'm like, oh, okay. So in my mind, I'm, like, oh, that's rapcore, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I heard Down on MTV and I'm like, oh, okay. I get it, and then
Which band was that? Do you remember what band that
I have
was?
no idea. They were probably some band that had one show. You know what I mean?
That's fucking hysterical, dude. Like, I mean, I remember like the new metal bands, but I don't remember like a core band.
Yeah, this was probably like 95.
Oh
Like I
wait,
said, this was
Was it Choose band? Was it
no,
Three Lights and Eskimo?
no, I knew Choo Choo. These were like kids in Boardman, like,
Oh, okay. Because I
or like
remember they were
dudes,
like
you
a
know what I
fusion.
mean? They were probably
Yeah.
like already older than us, but I just the only thing I knew about that stuff was like Run DMC and Aerosmith doing Walk This Way, and then I was into Rage, and then I
Hmm.
think the first Corn album, someone like, you know, dubbed a copy for me, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. But like it just turned into something just like really cringy after
Yeah.
a while, and I'm just like I remember you playing the first Limp Bizkit like album for me, and I'm like, all right, I don't know. And then it just turned into like this big trend of people just like, once it what was the band that did Click Click Boom?
Oh, POD.
Yeah,
No,
no.
Saliva.
Was it was that Saliva?
I
Click
think it was
click
Saliva. Yeah.
boom. And I'm like, this is over. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Which, you know what? You know what's funny is like, I try not to be one of those like gatekeepers, like at all. Like, I think it's stupid. I think maybe when I was in my 20s, I was guilty of it with like Good Charlotte and like, Simple Plan and Newfound Glory, like that era, like the easy core kind of stuff. I kind of got like a little gatekeepy about it,
Yeah.
but like, when you get into a trend early, like
You feel
case in
like you
point,
own it. You feel
yeah,
like
like
you
I
have
feel like I owned it.
ownership
So
of
like,
it.
yeah, when I got into Corn in '94. Like they weren't even a huge band yet. It was just Blind. That was it. Like
Hmm.
there was no way. So like to me, like I didn't know what new metal was. I just knew they sounded kind of like a heavier Quicksand or like like what was the other band I really liked? Helmet. Like they sounded like heavier Helmet.
Yeah. Well,
And
for me, it was Shoots and Ladders was the song that I kind of gloved onto because it kind of
with the
had like a rapping thing to it. And I'm like,
mhm. Yeah, he
because I
kind of
also,
scatted.
yeah, because I also liked, I wasn't real into him, but what I had heard, like people showed them to me and I loved it was Body Count,
Oh yeah, with
you
Ice
know,
T, yeah. Mhm.
yeah. And then like, Beastie Boys and Beck and just like all these, rock people that would like incorporate hip hop because growing up in like the sticks, people didn't like hip hop unless they were like all the preppy kids liked hip hop for some reason,
Yeah.
and I don't know if this was like a precursor to hipsters or what it was, but all the preppy kids liked hip hop and there were like a couple of my friends like that stuff too. But
Mhm.
most of the kids were real like it was an all white school and like most of the like they would throw around racial
Yeah.
slurs like it was nothing. So
Yeah.
like being a kid that liked rap music and then got into rock and still liked rap, it was really cool to hear stuff like Rage and
Mhm. And I think what was really kind of different because you kind of did kind of grow up in the sticks, whereas I kind of grew up in like more of an urban setting. A lot of the kids I were hanging out with like skateboarders. And what was really interesting about our scene was there was multi-ethnic skateboarders. So then we had kids who were African American and kids who were Puerto Rican and kids who were they were just skaters. And what was interesting is like bands like Sublime and 311 and even maybe even earlier than that, maybe like Beastie Boys were kind of the bridge
Mhm.
because we were listening to hip hop. We were listening to like Wu Tang and like I don't know, like some West Coast rap, but a lot of East Coast rap. I listened to a lot of East Coast rap growing
Mhm.
up, and like De La Soul and A
Mhm.
Tribe Called
Yep.
Quest and like
Yep.
that kind of stuff. So these groups, I kind of felt like you had the kids who listen to punk, you had the kids who listen to hip hop, and then right in the fucking middle were these like certain bands like Sublime and 311 and when BC Boys went back to playing instruments, like there was that gap, and then new metal kind of teetered to where it also appealed to right in the middle too.
Yeah, I mean a lot of that stuff like I said before it became like there's something good to say about gatekeeping and I'm not going to like go on a diatribe. Like I think there's like a balance,
Yeah,
don't be a complete asshole, but also like you have to preserve some of the other, like once something becomes a trend and it's just like A&R guys running around the clubs trying to find someone that sounds similar to what just broke, you
well,
know.
see, that's not gatekeeping. That I think is just trying to keep it. I think
I It's just
that's the punk
protecting your
ethos.
culture from like outside,
Yes,
like, and I do think that it's healthy to have a little bit of hazing when like there's an influx of new people coming into your scene,
yeah, mm-hmm.
like it's vetting people, you know what I mean?
Like you
Like
used to
people,
spit on me 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden you like a newfound
right.
boy. Like
To
what? What
me,
the
that
fuck? Get
that's
out of my
that's healthy
team.
gatekeeping. That's healthy
Mm.
gatekeeping. You know what I mean? But being a dick to people and being like, you know, I think what a lot of people are calling gatekeeping is just old heads not wanting any kind of change, and just being old people because that's what old people do. They don't like new shit.
I'm so sick of people. I'm so sick of people our age or older shitting on bands that you know they damn well listen to. That is the worst kind of gatekeeping for me. Like, listen, I'm not going to sit there and say Green Day's new album Saviors is the best thing they've ever put out, but it's radically better than the shit they put out in the last 10 years.
Right. So I heard
But the
stuff.
shit on them, but the shit, like the
Yeah.
hate that fucking Green Day and Offspring and Rancid,
See,
like the
I
hate that they get. Like, listen, you got to take Offspring for what they are. Listen, they're
at
a
this
punk
point they're
band.
a novelty band I don't
Yes,
even think they play punk songs anymore, do they?
they still, yeah, their albums are always a mess. Their albums are
Okay.
always a
To
mess.
me, they sound like comedy butt rock now.
Those are
Like,
the
but
singles. Those are the
okay. All right,
singles.
there you go. All right.
Do you remember the song "You're Gonna Go Far, Kid"?
If you played it for me, I'd know it, but I kind of like disconnected from them after like Ixnay.
It sounded like something off of Ixnay. Like I mean, it just they kind of just teeter the line.
Hmm.
And you know what? And I'd like to know if do they release those songs as a way of selling out, or are they releasing those songs just to humor themselves?
Right.
Maybe they just put those songs out because they think they're fucking funny.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's gone to the point where like I'm all, I'm not really plugged into most people's opinions, especially like,
It's hard not to see it on
on
online
like at like a play-by-play level where,
though. Hmm.
in like real time, but um I'm in like groups on Facebook that are about punk and like I'm on Reddit a lot and stuff. And when people talk about the Offspring, most people don't even know that they were ever a punk band. They're like, "What are you talking about?" It's like when I go on a ska forum and someone brings up Smashmouth, and they're like, "Smashmouth isn't ska." I'm
That
like,
first album
the
was.
first album was ska punk, and the first three like Offspring albums are inarguably punk rock. Like the first two albums sound like TSOL with
Hmm.
like some like maybe a little bit of Bad Religion in influence.
Yeah.
Like Smash, I there's a lot of stuff on there where if you took out Dexter's vocals, it sounds like Motorhead.
Hmm.
You
Or even like
know,
a cross between Motorhead and Dead Kennedys.
I was gonna say Motorhead, Dead Kennedys, TSOL are probably like
That
the
surf,
three.
that surf
Yeah,
Middle Eastern guitar. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
But you bring up Rancid and Green Day, and you know, I listened to Green Day's latest album and I wasn't impressed, and it was mainly to me because it didn't sound anything like Green Day. And the thing that I always liked about Green Day up through um, at least some tracks on Warning was they had a very distinct way of the play between all three instruments. The bass the kick drum and the snare always followed the same pattern as the guitar and the bass. Like it just sounded like it just tight. You know what I mean? Like it was like if your guitar's going dun 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 dun, dun then the drummer's going boom tap tap boom. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like they had
Yeah.
this sound where it was just like very punchy sounding and very tight.
And plus Mike Dirnt, he was really good at doing that walking bass lines
Yeah,
where,
yeah,
and he kind of just doesn't do it anymore. Like he just doesn't. The last maybe 5 or 6 albums, he just doesn't do it at all anymore. It's just straight downstrokes.
yeah. It just I don't know. It sounds very like that last album sounds very Pro Tools to me.
Mm,
The guitar does not sound like Billy Joe Armstrong's guitar. It's way too loud and way too thin. It's
yeah.
loud and thin, and there's just not that Green Day sound to it. So like I get it. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna shit on them. I know people are gonna, but like you were saying, I just saw them on Sunday. Well, I heard them and saw special effects because I was like way back behind. It was a PNC Park in Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and it was I was way behind like home plate with my brother's friend, and my wife, and it was a cool show, and it was great. Like first they started off with like a couple songs. I can't remember what song they started with, but they did the entire Dookie album start to finish, and then they did it like a few more songs from random albums, and then they started doing American Idiot from start to finish. And I did like those songs better live. I
Hmm.
wasn't into like American Idiot is where they completely lost me for a while. Um,
I have a newfound appreciation for that album. I think honestly, that was a gutsy fucking move on that band's part. And I don't think we as a collective group of people who got into them 10 years before truly fucking appreciated that. And what a
right.
ballsy, that was a ballsy move. A lot of bands walk the walk, but a lot of bands didn't talk the talk. And for that time, it was they got a lot of, I mean, they sold a lot of albums, but they got a lot of shit, dude.
Yeah.
And looking back at that album, I'm like, you know what, man? It was really fucking good. And I don't know why we shat on it, man, when it first came out, because it was a good album.
But it wasn't Green Day. It wasn't our Green Day. Here's the thing.
It was
Here's
the new. It
because
was the
my bro
it was the
is the
next
new
level.
Green Day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
new Green Day.
my brother was saying this while we were at the show. He's like, we talked about how like, these songs are a little bit easier to digest now, and even kind of, we know some of
Mhm.
them and they're kind of well written songs and stuff. But he was like looking around at all the young people and they're singing their fucking hearts out to these American Idiot songs, and we're like, oh my God, this is their Dookie.
Yeah,
Like they're still a relevant band and they're old as fuck. You know what I mean? They're like
50. Yeah.
50 something, like at least mid 50s, and still energetic as fuck. And
Hmm.
like, yeah, I was thinking about it. I'm like, you're right. And then I looked at him, or I on the way, because we cut out early because we were there for Dookie basically.
Yeah.
And we're in the car, and I was like, he's talking about how much, him and my wife both are like, they had so much energy. I can't believe it. Like how good they are still. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like Green Day's our generation's Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna keep doing this until they're dead. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Because they don't know anything else. They've been. I mean, all of them, even separately, before Trey started, he was playing from the time he was like 12.
Yeah.
And Mike and Billy, they've been playing together since they were like 14, 15 years old. Like, this is all they fucking know, dude. Like, really,
Yeah. They were
you
kids.
know, and you don't, and I don't think that goes away. I don't think when you start that early, like that's just in your DNA at that point. Like you can't function. It's not like working a job for 40 years and retiring. Like it just, I don't think, because you always want to keep doing it. It's like a drug,
Yeah.
you know. But with Green Day, we touched on the stuff like 311 and Sublime for me. I just, with those bands, like I just feel like especially when I hear songs like Santeria or like Summertime or Doing Time,
Yeah.
um Seeing Red. I just, there's songs that just really remind me. Pawn Shop, Jailbreak, like just all those. That just reminds me of summer, and I think it's because of the reggae and the ska. I just think there's something about those bands that just, I don't know. They're very 90s. I don't know if bands
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's bands that still do that kind of stuff, like Dirty Heads and um with AJR and there was Sublime with Rome and Long Beach Dub All Stars, but you know what I mean. That sound doesn't feel now to me. That song that sound feels 90s to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your next kind of band or subgenre or whatever have you that reminds you of the 90s?
Well, it almost sort of goes back to both the rap rock thing and the Sublime thing, but like I feel like we're touching a lot on like late 90s, but that's okay. There was that whole trend of like bands that were either like the light version of that or like pop rock with like a hip hop kind of rhythm and a DJ scratching records.
Like Incubus.
Okay, I wasn't even gonna go there because that to me that still like falls under the like the new metal. It's like new metal and post grunge combined.
Okay.
So like I'm thinking like Citizen Cope, Better Days and like Fly by Sugar Ray and like Scooby Snacks by Fun Lovin' Criminals.
That's right. Yeah, like
Where it was
that.
like
Bro.
just
Yeah.
yeah, just like those also sound very summery to me and very 90s, like unmistakably 90s. I feel like Fun Lovin' Criminals especially is just like a throwback to like I don't know, when was um G Love and Special Sauce? Was that like early to mid 90s or
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
yeah.
like yeah.
So like I kind of feel like they all kind of ripped off both Sublime but only What I Got and G Love.
Maybe a little bit of Beck too.
A little bit of Beck, but like I feel like Beck was always such a weirdo,
Yeah.
where like his stuff was very sample based. I'm talking like just a band
With a
playing
DJ.
like with a DJ, just like a wow, 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 wow. Oh,
And that's funny because you know what? I would have ever thought you would pull from Fun Loving Criminals and Citizen Code.
I like
That
fun.
just
I like Fun Loving Criminals though. Like,
like it just and I don't know, like I just knowing you as long as I've known you, 25 plus years, I never would have never expected
I
you to pull
I
those bands out.
I own that Citizen Cope single
Oh,
on
I know you
cassette.
do. Yeah, I know you do.
I don't anymore. I don't know what happened to it, but like
But
I
you
hadn't
did have
even
it. Yeah, you did have
yeah,
it.
but I didn't even hear it. It was like before it was even like on the radio constantly. I like just saw. I was like Citizen Cope. That sounds like a cool name. I thought
Mhm.
maybe they were like a ska band or something. I was probably
Yeah,
thinking of Citizen Fish. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but yeah.
That's funny.
What's another one that's like that? It's like fun time pop rock with like the scratching.
Hip hop, hip hop, pop hip,
Pop hip.
pop hip.
Hip pop.
That's what we do in our 40s. It's a lot of hip
Yeah,
hop.
my hip pops a lot. Um
Geriatrics over here.
yeah. AARP rock.
Uh, Speaking of AARP rock, my next grouping is like I don't know, like I'm gonna probably get people are probably gonna have fucking hate for this when I say it, but I don't know. I'm a sucker for this kind of music, which is kind of like the jangle pop of like the early to like mid '90s, like stuff like Gin Blossoms
Yep.
and Soul Asylum and REM, and I mean, some people would even probably lump in stuff like
Goo Goo
I don't
Dolls.
know, Goo Goo Dolls, yeah, Goo Goo Dolls, Juliana Hatfield, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just a sucker for that kind of stuff. Like, last year I saw Gin Blossoms play. They played the Rib Fest
Yeah.
in in Boardman, and dude, like I sang along. Dude, I was like a little kid, dude. Like
Yep.
I was in my absolute glory. I mean, excuse me. I really only really. I mean, they've had a long career, but it was just pretty much the first two albums that I thought were like two of the best albums to come out of the '90s period. New
Yeah.
Miserable Experience and Congratulations. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I think what was it just there's something about that sound of hearing that kind of Rickenbacker style kind of jangle guitar. Okay, what was that?
I needed to move. I just
I
thought it would
thought
be
like that was like one of the meme where the guy go
skibbity toilet.
skibbity toilet. Um, but there's just something about that kind of sound at the time. Like I hear songs like "Hey Jealousy" or "I Found Out About You," and it instantly sounds '90s to me. It instantly sounds like I don't know that kind of college rock meets kind of Americana, kind of forlorn, like almost folky, kind of just
Yeah, jangle
blend.
pop.
Jangle pop, yeah, jangle pop, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just that kind of stuff. I don't know. It feels very much of that time, and
Like
I
REM and Replacements ripoffs.
or Husker Du, yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
like later Husker Du.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That college radio, like, and I listen to REM, and like it's even hard to listen like when the radio comes on when you hear songs like you know, what's a frequency, Kenneth, or Stand, or Shiny Happy People, or Man in the Moon. It's hard not to hear those songs and not like, oh my god, I remember when this song came out. Like, it's the instant nostalgia factor.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. I
like
agree.
Soul Asylum just put out a new album, and they instantly went, "Oh my god, Soul Asylum was so good, dude!" Like that, like I can't believe they're still doing stuff. But like I instantly got, and you mentioned like Goo Goo Dolls.
Mhm.
You know, I love '90s Goo Goo Dolls. I mean, it
Yeah.
was good stuff. And I don't think they kind of. I don't really know if I don't have my ear to the underground outside of punk as much as I would like to. But like, I wonder if that kind of stuff still exists.
There's quite a few bands up here in Cleveland actually. I can't name most of them. Like The Mist is one. I don't know if this band is still doing stuff, but there was a band called Uncanny Valley,
Mm-hmm.
which is very like 90s alt rock kind of sounding
Yeah.
stuff.
Like I remember
Um,
back in the day with Pittsburgh, like there was like Brownie Mary, and then you had like the Clarks, and which I don't know how the Clarks are looked at outside of like that. I don't know how punks necessarily look at the Clarks,
I
but
don't think anybody even knows the Clarks outside of Pittsburgh and Youngstown area.
well, they were nationally. I mean, they were nationally known. They were on like Razor and Tie and stuff.
I've brought them up. Nobody even knows what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Like they
really?
were, yeah, yeah.
like like what the Vindies are now.
It's like if you left Cleveland and said, something about Stanley Band. Like here they're like huge rock stars, and then you leave Cleveland and people are like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Did they have that one hit in 1977?
I have no idea. I know people up here, especially of a certain age group, are just like that's like their band, and that
Well,
guy
that's like
was,
around where we're from. It's Donnie Iris.
yeah. Well, oh yeah. But I
Yeah.
was telling my wife, um,
My wife.
my wife they're like every time that Donnie Iris comes on, I'm like, hey, it's Pittsburgh's Michael Stanley. She's like, I don't get what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah,
He's
he
from
is.
Elwood City. He had that one song, The Jag, and then he had that
Yeah.
song, Aaliyah.
Well, the band, his band was called the Jags. I think with a
Oh,
Z, or
what
the
was their?
Jaggers, or so,
Yeah,
no, the
the
Jaggers.
Jaggers.
And then the
What
song
was?
was called The Rapper.
That's it. The rapper. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he had Aaliyah, and people know those songs. Nobody outside of Cleveland knows Michael Stanley. They're like,
Really? I knew who Michael Stanley
did
was.
you? Okay, well, I had no
Yeah,
idea. When I moved here,
yeah,
people were talking about him. They're like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
yeah.
And
Like he was like up there with like Steely Dan and like bands Steel and Wheels and like Peter Frampton and stuff. Like he was pretty
okay,
big.
huh?
Yeah, he was pretty big.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
Hmm. Mm,
like people have played, like when I'm DJing at, some of these more towny kind of bars and stuff. People request his songs, and I'm like, I've never heard this in my life.
yeah.
I just know I knew of him as like a radio DJ, but I didn't listen to the radio very much, so
Hmm.
I don't know.
People get fucked up when I tell them that um Mike Tyson used to live in Niles.
Really?
Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Dude, in the 90s, he had a mansion outside of Niles and he had like tigers and shit, dude.
Well, yeah,
Like this is common knowledge.
yeah.
Like he lived outside of Niles and he had like fucking lions and monkeys and shit, dude. He was like that was like at the peak of like his like Mike Tyson's punch out and like the court case and all that. Yeah, like yeah,
Huh.
he like and then one day like he just abandoned it. Like now
Yeah.
that the mansion's still there, like it's all abandoned and shit.
Huh.
There was like in ground, like there were like indoor like swimming pools and shit like that. Like it was like it yeah, right outside like either I don't know if it's in the city of Niles or like right outside. Like
Yeah.
maybe more like Austin town. But like yeah, like he lived around here.
I don't know if it was Ashton Kutcher or what's the other guy's name? The guy that played Stifler.
Oh, Sean William
Sean
Scott.
William Scott. It was one of those two because I get them confused sometimes in my
Yeah.
mind. Not when I see them, but like in my mind, because to me they're like the same type of person.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them lived in like Mohawk School District in like the early 2000s,
Really?
or their fiance did. Is Ashton Kutcher with
Mila
Mila
Kunis.
Kunis? He probably has been forever since that show, since the '70s
I
show.
feel like that would be more like
It
Sean
was
William
probably
Scott.
Sean William Scott, but I remember my brother driving past, and I think it was like a girl they went to school with or something in Mohawk, and they
Oh,
saw him in the driveway skateboarding.
no shit.
So yeah,
I didn't
so
know
I'd
that.
have to look that up. That also might be unsubstantiated, and I might be getting the wrong celebrity, but it's someone in that kind of that era of teen cinema,
Now that I
you know?
think about it, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
That sounds vaguely
I think he
familiar.
was like engaged to some chick from Mohawk School
That's
District.
funny.
And yeah, like my
He
brother's
was
like, yeah,
on
I saw him. I saw him out in the driveway skateboarding.
he was on this show. It was called like Welcome to Fitch.
Mhm.
And it was on for like a couple years. And he was pretty good in that. And it had what was her name? The one that was in My Name is Earl.
Uh, you mean the main guy?
No, the girl, the his ex-wife.
Oh, I don't know. Like the white trash version of the chick that just played Barbie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, fuck, what was her name?
Fuck, man. I don't
Listener,
remember.
watcher, if you remember her name.
Yeah,
I know it's on the tip of my tongue.
I'll bet.
uh, so what's another song that reminds you of the 90s? We're burning daylight here, Sam. We're so
Didn't I
dumb.
go? Oh no, you were talking about gin blossoms.
Yeah, tambourine.
I don't know. No, I have the guitar riff from Scooby Snacks running through my head over and over again. Now I just like the whole time we're talking, it's like dun 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 dun
Oh,
dun dun dun. Running around, robbing banks, all whacked out on Scooby
Exact
snacks.
dun 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 dun. Dun. You know another group too? LFO.
LFO.
LFO. They
I
had
don't
that
know if
song. Dun, dun, hold on. I'm trying to think of how it starts out. It's like something had a bunch of hits. Seafood makes me sick, and that's why I got by in the summer. In the summer.
oh yeah, what the hell was they were called
Yeah.
LFO?
Yeah, I think it's not the bottom falls out. What the hell? That was
The
Citizen
bottom falls
Code.
out with Citizen Cope.
Yeah. It's like Dun, dun, had a bunch of hits. Seafood makes me sick, and that's why I
I know
think
what you're
Summer
talking
Girls.
about. Summer
Summer
Girls.
Girls.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that might have been early 2000s.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but there was that was the other
But
one that
that's
kind of
that's
did
along
that.
the lines of all those.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
It just popped into my
Um
head. You know what? Another thing that reminds me of 90s too, and because I don't think rap does it anymore, where there's like a rap collective. Like, okay, there's rappers who are in groups who might like do like a verse, and then one guy will do another verse, another guy do a verse.
yeah,
But
not
there's
anymore.
not the hip hop that does the trade off where like one line and then the other line.
Yeah, now it's all features. I don't think there's really
Yeah.
groups anymore. I kind of feel like Outkast was the last rap group.
No, Odd Future was.
Okay, but again, Odd
Yeah.
Future is a little more underground. Like I bring up Odd Future and people have no idea.
Well, they know the people when they know
Right.
Frank Ocean and they know
Yeah.
the creator, but they don't know Odd Future.
Yeah. But even
Yeah.
like the younger kids like don't even it's all these like everybody has Lil in front of their name and
Little People,
like
Little Xan,
Lil Baby.
Little Baby.
I can't believe there's a rapper named Lil Baby and people take him seriously.
Well, there's a Little Dicky.
That's not even worse. Like the worst is Lil Baby. It
At
sounds like a
least Little
joke.
Dicky is good.
It sounds like a joke on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It sounds like Charlie became a rapper and they called him Lil Baby.
They haven't done that episode yet.
No. But they
Little
did do an episode where he was underground boxer and they called him Clown Baby. And they did do a joke where this episode's been pulled since, but the episode where Sweet D is dating a hard R person
Oh, they took that
and
off.
yeah, and the rapper's name was like Lil Kev. And they're like, does he have like a little hand or a little foot or is it like a physical thing? Or yeah, I think he had a little hand. And they're like, but yeah, all the
Why'd they
rappers
take it off?
because of the all the R word stuff.
Oh, okay.
But it sucks because not because of that, but because like that's the origin of like Dayman.
Yeah.
Because it's also like they decide to throw a show in the bar and then um you know Charlie is coming up, he's huffing gas and coming up with the music for Nightman in the dark with a blanket wrapped around his body. Just like a fucking crazy person. And then Dennis comes in and he's trying to talk to him. He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I got the song. And then I'm going to start calling myself Samwell.
Like when my mom used to call me Joe Nathan, so people knew how to spell my name.
Yeah. Hello, Joe
And,
Nathan.
and
My
then
name.
one person spelled it Joenatha.
With a hyphen?
No, no hyphen. Like just they were just throwing vowels everywhere, man. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit how I spelled my name.
We got vowels coming out of our bowels.
Like me and you have like the oldest names ever in the world. Like
Yeah, we got old dude names.
we got old Hebrew dude names. Like
I feel like there's still people named John though.
I'm not a John.
No, like Jon, like Jonathan.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a dead name.
Nobody. I dead named you. All right, this is all getting cut.
Nope,
All of
nope,
it, every
nope.
last bit.
Leave every bit of it.
I'm so
They
glad I'm
must
the
know.
editor now.
They must know. If you cut this out, that's it. That's it. That's it. No more podcasts if you cut it.
Don't bluff me, motherfucker.
Oh, I am bluff you, motherfucker. I'll bluff you all night long. Wait.
Here's a song that reminds me of the 90s every time I hear it because I never hear it unless I don't play it for myself.
When
You
you're
just
playing with
said
yourself.
Stay by Lisa Loeb and 10 Stories.
Oh,
That's very
yeah.
90s.
Very 90s. You know what
Always
another
takes me
90s
to the 90s.
that takes you to the 90s? And you know what else takes me to the 90s
Hmm.
besides Lisa Loeb and Nine Stories?
10,000 Maniacs.
No. Oh, yeah. No, they're more 80s to me. Um, White Town's Woman. Every time
Yes. Hmm.
there's some singer that sampled that same sample that they because I guess that sample's like from like the 1890s.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that dun, 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 line.
I had a
And
friend that was so pissed off because he was like he thought it was a rip off of the Imperial March from Star Wars. He was like, John Williams gonna sue someone. I'm like, that's not even remotely you can't copyright two notes.
yeah, especially when it's dun dun, and this is dun dun dun
Yeah,
dun
the other one's like
dun dun.
da 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 da,
Oh,
and
copyright infringement! God damn it! That's
then the
it.
other ones da 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 da
I
da
can
da
never
da.
be a woman.
Then the bass line goes boom 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 boom
Hmm.
boom boom boom. Yeah, which
Yeah,
actually is
nobody.
more like hit the road jack.
Yeah, like my wife hates that song. Well, she says she doesn't hate it. She says she doesn't understand it, which I think is just code for she hates the song.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't know. Like I love the lyrics are kind of ambiguous and kind of doesn't make any sense.
yeah, like a lot of
Like,
90s songs.
yeah, but like there's something about the production of like the way the song's constructed. I just really and like when I hear it, I'm just instant like boom,
Yeah.
1997 all over again,
I
dude.
feel like I had that on cassette and I don't remember one other song from it. Like I think it was
Uh,
one of the ones where I should have bought the single.
I think I just had the CD single. I don't think I had the album. I don't recall that in primitive radio gods.
Oh yeah. I've been down harder, babe.
Oh, been
I've
downhearted,
been down
baby.
harder, babe. Ever since the day we met. All right,
Which
I'm done.
sounds, which kind of sounds like Moby.
Yeah. Moby, like all that like when all the people that were doing quote unquote techno started like doing like
Neo soul.
well, yeah, but like joining like old blues recordings with like electronic beats and shit, but like
Because they became public domain.
but it's yeah, but it's all like um what's the band I'm thinking of? What was the main like Manchester band?
Happy
Not the Happy Mondays, the other one that did like Fool's Gold and all that.
Basement Jacks.
No,
Happy Mondays. Suede.
Suede was Britpop.
Yeah.
Thinking like
Mm,
the
I can't think. My brain hurts. I don't
I have
remember.
a CD in my fucking car and I can't pick I can picture the album, but I don't know what fuck man. There we go. Fucking heroin.
Oh wait, what were we doing?
What is I like how we did that at the exact same time. That was not planned, people.
I had to catch a little shut eye. Getting waxing nostalgic over here, getting sleepy.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Also, like I don't know, like stuff like Beastie Boys, man. Like I've been coming back to like Beastie Boys a lot. Like I'm kind of bummed that like I never got to see them.
Hmm.
because you're kind of like, I think there's certain groups who just always expect to be there. So like you never run out and see them, and then
Yep.
you can't, and you're just like, fuck. Because like they'll never be any more Beastie Boys. I mean, there's no what they're done.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember there were a lot of people our age that were going to see them with Rage Against the Machine in like 99 or 2000 or something.
Yeah.
And then something happened. Like, I don't know if someone got sick or someone got injured. I think like one of
Zach
the
had
Beastie
bipolar.
Boys, no, I think one of the Beastie Boys got injured skateboarding or something.
Oh,
Like
MCA.
MCA like hurt his shoulder or some shit.
Yeah,
They had to cancel the whole tour.
because he couldn't
People were
play.
mad.
Couldn't play
People
the
were
bass.
people were big mad.
Big mad.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I feel like I don't know. Like I don't know. I kind of really like in the last like 10, 15 years how much love Beastie Boys get from the hip hop community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because there were like every album just didn't sound like the other. I mean, they were constantly evolving. Like,
Hmm.
you know what? And there's something like, especially like Paul's Boutique. Like,
Yeah.
I bought the 30th anniversary of that. No, yeah, 30th anniversary. It would have been, yeah, it would have been 2019. 2019, 2020, I bought it. And it's just like, I don't know, like you can't do that shit anymore. And then they did it, and then their next one was like, oh, we're gonna play fucking instruments again.
Yeah.
And then
But then
people got to
after,
realize how good of musicians they really were because they came from that scene.
yeah. It's like how old school they went. So like Hello Nasty, which was the first one without Hurricane.
Yeah, they had
Well, the first
Mario.
album didn't have Hurricane. They got Hurricane for the tour for that one. But
Yeah,
um yeah,
Mixmaster Mike,
Mixmaster Mike,
and
like
then Mario C.
Hello Nasty was very electronic sounding, but after that they just went full 80s
Mm-hmm.
like breakdance shit, you know?
Yeah, I think that was what Five Boroughs or whatever.
To the Five Boroughs and the Hot Sauce Committee and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff was very much like just straight up breakdancing 80s like
Yeah.
electro kind of.
Like
And
they
like
didn't give a shit what was popular.
back to,
They had zero cares of what was popular at the
yeah,
time. They were doing their own shit. Because think about it, when West Coast like gangster rap came out, like started getting big, they put out Paul's Boutique,
rock
which was
music.
just
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, they were putting out the huge sample base, like layered samples of like old like 70s
Yeah.
like obscure funk and soul, and like they just didn't like they did not they didn't give a
Yeah.
shit, dude.
I feel like that one was like around the same time as like the like Public Enemy and Ultramagnetic MCs and stuff where people were starting to really like see how far they could push sampling,
They
you
were, but
know,
at the same time,
during
there was very much the West Coast. Like there was NWA, there
okay, yeah.
was
Yep. But I was
Ice
gonna say
T.
like during the whole G Funk era of like
Mm-hmm.
Dre's the Chronic and Doggy Style and all that kind of stuff, that was when they went rock again. Like
Yeah,
they did ill communication and no,
check your head.
check your head first and then ill communication.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like those that's almost like a double album to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, but I
I don't know.
remember
Check your
like
head feels a little bit more live. I
okay,
think
yeah,
I think ill communication was a little bit more polished, and they kind of expanded. Like they were doing like instrumentals, and
yeah.
like they were
But that
kind of doing
was
like fusion.
but all the videos were like, you know, gratitude and sabotage and stuff like that. And they were marketing themselves more to the rock crowd at that
Yeah.
point.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time as like, you know, you'd see nothing but a G thing on, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
those
You see
videos would
nothing
be
but a
like
G
back to
thing.
back
You see
on
nothing but a G thing,
MTV.
and then they bust it out with like Sure Shot and like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know, like those. I don't know. There's just certain bands that are just like so '90s. Like they don't. Like I said, like there's very few bands that I come across now that are kind of pulling from that era. I think probably the closest band that I feel kind of draws from that is 21 Pilots.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I knew you were going to say that actually.
yeah, because I don't think they give a fuck about what's popular either. I mean, because they're not really catering to. They're a mainstream band, and
Yeah.
how they got signed. They got signed for the reason they sounded like they did.
Hmm.
But they just go, they zig and they zag, man. They
Yeah.
don't really stay to any kind of structure at all.
I feel like they're kind of over now too. Like I play these songs, I get a lot of insight from just making playlists, for work.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with all these teenagers and like they don't know those songs. Like those are old
Mm.
songs now. Those are like at least like 10 to 12 years old or,
Yeah, but
maybe even longer.
they just put out an album that's doing pretty good.
Did they? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
Huh.
don't know. I don't know. I feel like they're like one of the very few bands that really caught my attention. And I was lucky enough that I paid attention to what my kids were listening to.
Yeah.
And when they came out, it was like, oh, that's that band that did that stressed out song. And
Hmm.
then I kind of discover their other stuff, and I'm like, like they're kind of like they're heavily influenced by the 90s.
Yeah.
They're heavily influenced by they're well into their 30s now, so that kind of made sense that they would have kind of been in that wheelhouse too. But they take reggae and funk and pop and rap and metal, and they kind of not so much metal. They don't really get, but they do get a little harder. They're very
Yeah.
percussion based, orchestra. They kind of just like they cherry pick a little bit of everything, and then they put it together. And like you don't see that too much anymore. I feel
Yeah.
you
Another
know
band that was like that, and I think a lot of these bands, like they're new to us, but at this point they're old bands.
yeah.
Another band that was like that was Cage the Elephant.
Oh yeah.
It's like very 90s sounding.
Mm-hmm.
There's that band that I actually heard of before they were on the radio and stuff, White Reaper.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
they're very 90s sounding, but like rock is as far as the mainstream and as far as kids go, like rock is pretty dead.
It's all nostalgia bands.
Yeah, it's all nostalgia bands and like, but like even the rock radio stations aren't even playing like new stuff really. Like they're, Black Keys just came out with a new one and I think I heard the lead single off at once. Just
Yeah.
bands are not cool. You know what I mean? It's all like I can't believe how huge Taylor Swift is now, like 20 years after she started pretty much.
I mean,
You know what I
she's kind
mean?
of like our Mariah Carey or some shit, dude. Like
Well,
it's
she ain't
it's
mind nothing.
no, we're not 12 and we
Right,
have penises.
right.
Um, but here's the thing with Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift gets a lot of hate. What I was like, it's 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 good that musicians like Taylor Swift exist because they're writing songs and actually playing instruments and actually and
Yeah.
they're and it's good that it still exists because you know what, every now and again a musician comes along that just smacks the pop mentality around. Like, no,
Mhm.
it doesn't take 8 people to write "Come and Get Your Yum Yums." You know what I mean? It took 12 people to write "Single Ladies." Like, come on,
Right.
no, like it's good that like it artists like that exist. They're not for me and you. Like they're not designed. Like we're not the ones going out and asking our parents for $600 to go see Taylor Swift. Like we're not those people. We're lucky we paid $10 to go see a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or $50 to see a festival. Like we're not the ones spending that kind of
Right.
money. I mean,
No, but
because
I mean, there are still a lot of festivals catering to like rock music, but it is mostly like a nostalgia tour.
Oh yeah, it's all
You know, like
nostalgia.
the thing
Yeah.
I just went to. I just went and saw Green Day headlining a show with like Smashing Pumpkins and Rancid. Like that doesn't work, but it did. Like from a financial and promotion standpoint, it worked. You know what I
How
mean?
was Rancid?
Rancid was cool. They only got like half an hour,
Yeah.
so it went the Linda Lindas, who I was very impressed by.
I love the Linda Lindas, dude.
Um, I didn't realize how young they were. I didn't
Oh
realize
yeah, their
they're all like
drummer's like
they're
12 or
teenagers.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then they got 20 minutes. Rancid got 30. Smashing Pumpkins had a 45-minute set, or maybe an hour, something like that. Rancid was cool, but again, like the sound, it's like that whole big concert thing where the sound kind of sucks for the opening bands, and then it's
Hmm.
fucking like it's just the headliners hyped. Like they
Yeah.
they 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 bring out the big guns for the sound and the lighting and all that. But Rancid was cool. Like they did, songs from all eras
Hmm.
pretty
I
much.
like their new album a lot.
Smashing Pumpkins did a lot of new stuff, or maybe just stuff that was after Adore that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Um, but they did do quite a few crowd pleasers, and
Yeah, they
I
probably
don't
did well.
know. They had like some woman on stage with them that I didn't know who she was, and she was
She's the
wearing a
new
cape.
guitarist. She's a new guitarist.
No, no, like another singer, like a
Oh,
woman singer was like, she's wearing a cape and shit. I don't know. Like my brother and I were joking that like that was just someone they found on the road. They're like, yeah, you can come and, be on stage with us, but you have to, like Billy Corgan's like, you have to wear a cape because he's an asshole and like just a weird artsy person.
they found her in like New Orleans or some shit.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, you can come on tour with us. Yeah. Well, like,
We're not gonna pay you, but we'll feed
let me
you
hear what you
M&M.
can do. And they made her sing along to the radio in the tour bus. They're like, all right, you got the job, kid, but you got to wear this cape.
And here's the lyrics to Disarm. This is gonna be the longest episode ever.
Oh, I'm editing the shit out of it. Just like any weird pauses and shit, I'm just gonna crossfade it and
You're keeping the other stuff, right?
we'll see.
Well, we should probably wrap it up because it's almost lunchtime for me. I need to
Wrap
eat
it
my
up, B.
yeah.
Wrap
Wrap it up, B.
better wrap that
Word.
gavel up, B. Or wrap up
Yeah,
that gavel.
gavel, B.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know that. Oh yeah, I know that.
It's Chappelle's show. Look,
Listen, we showed Liam the college all star game.
I don't know what you're
All the
talking about.
funny names, Hinkle McCrinkenberry, and all that. Dude, watch it, dude. It's
I have to go back and
hysterical.
watch that show.
Dude, it
That's
was
a good
dude. Yeah,
show.
we showed him because he's all into football and he's playing football now, and we showed him all the funny names and stuff. And there was one where they actually have like real football players
Hmm.
with their goofy like haha Clinton Dix and like Jabrikashaw Ferguson. And he was cracking up. He was like, "Oh my god, this is so funny!" And then we showed him the substitute teacher,
Go on.
Aaron.
A Ron. Oh,
What
that's
is your name? D nice.
that's Key and Peele though.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that so is the college football thing.
What's really funny is in one of Chappelle's specials, he's talking about how he got replaced by Key and Peele because they were more like palatable for white people. So that's really
Yeah.
funny
Uh
that you're like, oh yeah, I love Chappelle's show. The Ron thing.
huh.
Like, no, dude, that's Key and Peele.
That's Key and Bill. So is the football thing.
Craggle McSticken fun or whatever the fuck.
Hinkle McCrinkenberry.
Hinkle McCrinkenberry.
Us at the Black Allegation Select. uh what would they say? Who they pick?
I don't know.
The
I don't
Asians take
follow.
the Asians take Wu-Tang on the racial draft.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're losing steam. We
Yeah.
always know when we're losing steam. We've been doing this for almost 2 hours now.
I got gas. That's why I'm
Mhm.
losing steam.
I'm glad you're an hour and 40 minutes away from me then, because none of that gas will travel through the telephone.
Yeah.
Smell-o-vision.
In smell-o-vision.
Smell my
Smell-o-vision.
smell my eye.
Pull my finger.
Finger cuffs.
Kiss me where it smells funny.
That's another good band
Yeah,
too.
that's a 90s band.
Yeah, I actually saw them. That's good. I like Bloodhound Gang. Yeah. The fact that anybody took them at all serious is like the dumbest thing. Like fake outrage. Like, oh my god, they talk about farts and sex stuff.
I think everybody just likes them. Oh shit. I don't think anybody I've ever met anybody that like was outraged by them.
No, it's all fake outrage. It's just
I
like
don't even know
old
those
old
people.
old women. Old women.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pearl clutchers.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, there's these weird kids from Scranton that are talking about fart and sex, fart jokes and sex.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like
And they
yeah, the only songs I people know are Bad Touch and Firewater Burn. They're like, "Oh,
yeah.
I love those songs." But they don't know
Foxtrot,
like what
Foxtrot Unicorn, Charlie Kilo.
they don't know the lap dance is better when the stripper is crying though.
Or all my friends are make believe.
Or lift your head high and blow your brains out.
or their cover of Along Comes Mary.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. I might
I
play
used to
that
put
tonight
that
at my
on
event.
I used to play that. I used to put that a lot on like CD pumps I would make. I would always put that song on.
Hmm.
And they have a cover of Kids in America.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, that was
Who
on Use Your
didn't?
Fingers.
Who didn't have a cover of Kids in America in the 90s?
Right?
I feel like wasn't Face to Face or somebody like that had one and
The
or
Muffs,
no,
I think.
West well yeah, that's like the main one for me.
Yeah,
But I think like Weston or somebody had one.
that's right, Weston. Holy shit, dude. Good pull, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it was on a Bouncing Souls split where
Yeah, that's right. The
like each of them did like an 80s cover. I feel like Face to Face did Turning Japanese or something.
That was the old BYO splits.
And then they did a Christmas song together as one band. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never actually heard it. I just saw this on a Facebook group like last week.
Tell you what, I'm gonna have to. Hey, if you ever want my stuff to play on your stuff, like anything like I put out, if you want anything, like I'll send you
Yeah,
Dropbox files.
do that. Do that.
Mm-hmm. So I
I
don't know
think I
what else to
have
do.
I have quite a few things that I play, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely the newer this is just a part deux.
But
Duh.
tell me how great that cover is.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was you guys at first. Like it just like
Oh, you did
it
it?
like jarred me for like half a second. I was like, who are these guys? Oh, oh.
Because I had my tongue stuck out. Like,
Yeah, and you also had like a chicken mohawk. So
yeah, I had the chicken mohawk. Yeah,
yeah.
because I had found the thing, and I was like, can you like change the faces? And he's like, yeah, I should be able to. And to Mike's credit, man, he fucking worked on that shit for a while to get it to like as good as it was. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, he really killed it on that one.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I just wish people fucking bought it. I mean, it's like that's 32 fucking songs on it, man.
Yeah.
For $5. Pick up a copy, you fuckers. Yeah. So that being said, we ready to wrap it up, homie?
Yeah, wrap it up, B.
Wrap it up. Wrap up the gavel, B.
Fuck your couch.
Fuck your couch. I don't remember I just grind on my feet on Eddie's couch. I got more sense than that. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
Grind up, you know.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
You got dysentery.